Well, hello everyone. Just so you know, whatever my thumbnail turns out to be, it's not clickbait. I'm just hot. So that's why I don't have a shirt on. So don't worry, I'm not going to stand up. Anyway, today is January 2nd, in the year 2022, and it's a Monday. And I'm Mazske Finance. I'm going to tell you exactly what I made each year according to the Social Security website. Taxable income, because sometimes taxable income on Social Security website, they subtract something from your overall income. I forget what they subtract, because it's been a little bit while since I worked. I did work I'm 55 years old, okay? And I retired in the full-time work in the year 2018. I started my first job where I was paying taxable income in 1983. I did work prior to that, odd jobs, so I might have started working in 1979, 1980, 81 at the very latest, probably 1980 is my guess, maybe 79. Cutting grass, taking care of someone's yard when they were gone on vacation. I worked for a gentleman on his farm. Under the table, he just paid me cash, that sort of thing. So anyway, my first taxable job was in 1983. My guess is this job, I think, was working on a horse farm. I worked on two different horse farms. Let me think for just a minute. Yeah, two different horse farms in that general time period. One was only for a short period of time. The other one, I started working, not full-time, but part-time, weekends and after school, I think, something like that. So, without any other recap, besides the fact that I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a CPA, not an attorney, and what I am going to explain to you is how I never made a lot of money, but now I'm a multi-millionaire, okay? All right, so let's begin with that. And I'm drinking my daily cup of mud water. So let's begin. Maybe I'll hold this up here and you can't see me without a shirt on. How's that? I write my notes down. My printer is not always working right, so I'm not, but look, full page of notes. That's my years with my income, okay? 1983, I made $1,340. I was 16 years old that year at my birthday, in the fall of the year. My birthday's in the fall. 1984, I was still in high school. I didn't graduate high school until 1985. 1984, I made $3,500. In 1984, I think, is when I started working landscaping. I'm pretty sure I did. In the fall of 1984, I think I started working landscaping. Because in my senior year in high school in 1985, I was on a work release program, and I can't remember if I did it. I think I did it all year, all school year. September through June is when we went to school. And I only took like 2 classes each semester, and I missed half those classes. I skipped school a lot. But anyway, 1985, I made $7,796. Okay? 1986, this was my best year working as a teenager. And I was only I was 18 years old then. I made $12,247. Okay, that was 1986. In 1987, in March of 1987, I joined the Navy. When I joined the Navy, I was an E1 in boot camp. I made E2 when I graduated boot camp. And 6 months later, which would have brought me towards the very end of 87, beginning of 88, I would have picked up, no, I'm sorry, I was an E2. In early 1988, March of 1988, I made E4, okay? So in 1987, I made $7,016. Took a pay cut for the year before, because I was an E1 in the Navy, maybe an E2 then. 1988, I made $9,347. 1989, I made $10,959. 1990, I got to country Panama in 1988, okay? Keep this in mind about military. Military, you get usually free lodging or money to help pay your rent, or a mortgage if you buy a house. You usually can, if you're enlisted like I was, you might either get some free meals in the galley or the chow hall, or you get, we call them, not comrades. What was it, comrades? I forget. We got money in our paycheck. I got like $200 some, I think. Because I didn't eat in the chow hall. I ate all my food somewhere else. Cooked it in the microwave a lot of times, I think, back then. Until me and the miss started dating, and she would cook for me at times. So anyway, $13,005. And that's the year I re-enlisted in the Navy. Got a selective re-enlistment bonus of a small amount of money, not very much. And I put $1,000 into 2 separate mutual funds. Late that year, I think it was. 1991, I made $14,142. 1992, $14,882. 1993, $17,404. 1994, there's a little star with this one. I made $20,111. By 1994, I was in the state of Maine. I transferred there in January of 1994. I was in E6, I think. Let me think. Yeah, I picked up E6 when I was stationed in Puerto Rico. I was in Puerto Rico in 91, 92, 93. 1993, my oldest son was born in that year. Okay, so now I got an added mouth to feed. I got added expense. 1994, I was in Maine somewhere along the way. It wasn't right when I got there. I got there in January. It was 0 degrees was the high temperature for that first week I got there. Sometime during that year, I don't remember when, I started working part-time at the MWR facility, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. I worked in the gym, the front desk. I maintained a 2-lane bowling alley. I forget all what I did there. But they had a basketball court. They had some weights, machines. I cleaned stuff, maintained the bowling alley, etc. I worked there part-time until I transferred out of there, basically. 1995, I made $21,757. 1996, I left active duty that year. All right, so I made $16,785. Because when I left active duty, I didn't work full time for a while. I had to put a roof on the house that I had bought, and I was lazy. And I started working part time. But 1997, I was working for a drug and alcohol rehab center. I think I was full time then. I got that job then, but I made $20,436. But in summertime in 1997, maybe late spring, I took a job with Leonard Building and Truck Accessories out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, and set me on a management training program. Became a manager of a store. I got relocated to the Shenandoah Valley in 1997. All right, so I was running that store. So 1997, again, I made $20,436. 1998, I started the year off working at Leonard's, still working at Leonard's, managing that store. Then I got hired by the police department in late March, but April 1st was my official date for pay purposes, or for retirement purposes. But I started like around the 25th, 26th, 27th of March of 1998. So 1998, and so a little bit of money is from Leonard's, and I was on pace that year with Leonard's to make $45,000. Starting pay in the police department was $23,000. But I made altogether $26,756 that year. That was 1998. 1999, I made $27,060. Year 2000, Y2K. Do you remember Y2K? I made $26,800. 2001, I made $30,237. I worked a lot of overtime that year to get that money. I was so happy to get $30,000 because my money was tight. I had 2 kids by that time. My second son was born in 1997, so I had 2 kids by that time. Made a whopping $30,000 a year. All right. That was 2001. 2002, I made $29,544. I got burnt out and working so much overtime, I backed it off a little bit. 2003, I was back up $30,730. 2004, $32,400. 2005, I made $33,136. 2006, I made $34,862. 2007, maybe if you're younger than me, you'll start thinking to yourself, well, talk about yourself. I started working this year and I made X number of dollars. Compare that to what mazske made. All right, so where was I? 2005, $33,000. 2006, $34,862. 2007, $35,571. 2008, I was up to $38,598. 2009, I made $37,941. Let me backtrack for just a minute. In 1993, I did get my bachelor's degree with a GPA of like 3.96. All right, not that it helped me make a lot of money. All right, 2010, big year 2010. I made $39,803. 2011, see now we're getting into better money. 2011, I made $42,821. 2012, I made $44,360. I'm still a police officer at this time. I got some promotions, I got some pay raises, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also in 2011, my oldest son graduated high school and went off to the United States Coast Guard Academy in June of 2011, I think it was. So 2012, $44,360. 2013, $46,534. 2014, $49,262. 2015, I crossed the line. I made $51,449. Also in 2015, my youngest son graduated high school and went off to the United States Coast Guard Academy. With both boys out of the house, my food bill had dropped tremendously. My electric bill had dropped. My water bill had dropped. And I also paid off my personal house in 2015. January 2015, I think it was, I paid off my personal house. I had bought that house in 1998. You can do the numbers, 1998, 2015, 17 years. All right, I bought that house. It was a VA loan. My total mortgage was $92,000, $0 down. Closing costs got rolled into the mortgage. I bought the house for like $89,900, but with the VA fees and whatnot, it was mortgage was $92,000 and something. All right, but I paid it off in 17 years. That's what I was focused on doing. All right. During that whole time period, I had money invested in the stock market, but even by 2015, I might have had $100,000 maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing. But anyway, 2016, $56,558. 2017, my best year ever. $62,854. So in the year 2017, I made $62,854. Both kids are out of the house. The missus is working full time by this time. And my personal residence was paid off. I had more money. So that's why during that year, I started thinking about real estate. And I bought my first rental property in January 2017. Because 2016 was a good year, right? 2017, $62,854. 2018, I retired on April the 1st. I pretty much stopped working overtime in late 2017 because I was working as little as I could. I was burning vacation down, burning holiday time down, and burning some sick time down. But in 2018, I made $25,467. When I retired, I did take a very short part-time job at the post office. It didn't last very long. I didn't like the job. It was too negative for me. Then I started working eventually at a YMCA. I was working out there one day when I was leaving at nighttime. I talked to the girl working the front desk and I said, "You think you guys hire here at all?" And then I ended up putting an application in and got hired. All right. So that's where I started working at a YMCA. I worked there until I moved down to Florida. So 2019, I made $19,422. 2020, I made $7,184 because I was backing my hours down because I was buying more rental property. That's the year I bought 14 houses in 2020. I was busy buying houses. And 2020, made $7,184. 2021, I made $1,878. That money came from a little bit at the YMCA from January and February, just part-time, just 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever it was. And when I got down here, I DoorDashed for a period of time. And I made like $2,500 DoorDashing, but then for tax purposes, you subtract mileage and stuff like that. And that's it there, my friends. I did not work any W-2 job in calendar year 2022. Now, granted, I'm making this video for one reason. Erin Talks Money is a female. She's a mom. Her husband, I think, is in the military. She made a video. Her channel is much, much, much bigger than mine. She gets income from her channel. I don't get any income from my channel. She does not invest in real estate. I've been in touch with her, and I encourage her to, but she doesn't want to as of this time. In her video, I saw, wow, she makes more money than I do. She makes more money than I have ever made. And yet, I'm a multi-millionaire, and she's not. So many people make more money than I do, and I'm a multi-millionaire, and they're not. Okay? Now, you're saying, but mazske, your spouse worked. Okay, granted. Erin, who made that other video, her spouse works. I think he's active duty in the military. Military, especially nowadays, makes good money. Free housing, free food, free health insurance. I paid health insurance when I was a cop, 20 years. Okay? So my spouse worked. Yes, she did. Around 1998, when I was hired, after I was hired in the police department in the fall of that year, I think it was, she started working part-time in the YMCA. Very part-time. She was making like $100 a week, and I was like, whew, I can breathe. $100 a week helped. And then she worked there, I don't know, a year or two. Then she started working in a preschool. And she worked in the preschool for 10 years, 11 years. But she moved into working full-time in the preschool. Because when the boys were little, she could take them to work with her, or they get off the bus. If I was working, they get off the bus where she worked at. That way, we didn't pay for childcare. We never paid for childcare. All right? Excuse me. You ought to try mud water. I'll put some honey in it so it sweetens it up. Honey can be healthy, too. All right, and then around 2009, 2010, she got hired in a factory. All right, and in that factory, she started making comparable money to me, but she never caught up to me until the year I retired. I made 62,000 in 2017. I think in 2018 she might have made $60,000. And in the next couple of years it went up. I think she topped out. Sorry, don't want to make noise with my hands. She might have topped out in the upper 60s, upper 70s, something like that. But that's what it is. Okay, just for a couple of years. Just for a couple of years. So I know some of the folks that watch my channel, Millennial Mike, I think he makes in six figures. If somebody's an officer in the Coast Guard, Lieutenant Helicopter Pilot Caleb, my boys, they make better money than I did. They have less expensive house. They don't pay housing. They don't pay health insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Odds are, if you're working in the year 2023, I need a new calendar because it still says December. And Mrs. is out at thrift stores now looking for some calendars. We need calendars. If you're working the year 2023 full time, my guess is if you got above and beyond a fast food restaurant, you're probably making better money than I made in my working career. Are you a multi-millionaire? Are you on your way to becoming a multi-millionaire? Are you an investor? How did Mazske do it? How did Mazske, when he never made a lot of money, how did I do it? You look at Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. He made six figures and his wife made six figures for all those years. That helps. Other people make good money. How they do it? How they do it? I'll share with you how I have done it. I have shared it in all of my 500 some videos or 400 some videos. I've shared it and I will share it again. Because I always say, if I can do it, so can you. So can you. And like I always say, if you're not doing it, if you're stuck on 4 houses, if you're stuck on 2, and you're not progressing to get the next one, you're stuck. Look in the mirror. Yes, that's the guilty person. It's not your job. It's not your family. Yes, you might have things that happen for a small percentage of you. But for the majority of you, don't blame anything else. Don't blame anyone else. Don't blame any job. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay? Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully my no shirt on my shoulders didn't distract you. I know I'm old, getting wrinkled and gray hair, so it is what it is. Navy boy up there. I painted that little guy a long, long time ago. He may not make the trip to Panama. We'll see. He's been with me for a long time, though. We shall see. All right. Enough of that. Hopefully you got something out of this. Mazke's signing out.